we've all been here before, where you see something on the hub or whatever other website of your choice, and you're like, oh man, I think like I'm into this too.
Okay,
that's
all
fun.
right.
It's kind of a fun, it's like going to a restaurant and you try a new meal and you're like, oh, where has this been all my life? Where have these armpits been?
When are we getting a Pornhub sponsorship? Can I just ask that? Like, it's time.
I think that will nuke any other endorsement deal we could possibly ever get, unfortunately. So
fine.
Yeah. You got if you want like a sex endorsement, it has to be thinly veiled.
Just send me a shirt.
Welcome to Playing House, the podcast about keeping your relationship sexy and secure. I am the thoughtiest man on the internet, Kolter Bouchard.
And I'm married to the thoughtiest man on the internet, Dominique Bouchard, and we are a real couple having real conversations, inviting you in as our third.
On today's episode, God watches you masturbate, chocolate and vanilla swirl, and have we gotten better at sex? I hope so. But first, let's check in. How you doing? How you doing, fam?
I'm good. You know what, fam? You're weird. I'm doing really well. I have finally gotten back to the gym, and it's only been twice this week. Don't check out anything because it's still fried
Checking
food
out everything.
Flowing through my veins.
Good. I should be flowing through your veins.
Oh my goodness, already. It's been 30 seconds, if even. But yeah, I'm feeling better. Going to the gym, just for the mental health, if not anything else, just makes a difference.
Imagine if you could like bang at the gym, which I guess you could. Nothing's stopping you except gym policy and possibly the law, but like getting a few pounds and a few rounds in at the gym.
I'm not gonna lie. When I walked out, I was checking if your car was there because I'm like, maybe we could make something happen.
Where are we hooking up at the gym?
That's what I was thinking through. You need to be more creative.
They've got because the gym used to have, listen, in the before times when everyone wanted to work because nobody wants to work anymore.
Right.
Gyms, as you may recall, if you have kids, they'd have a place and you could just dump your kids there.
So what are you suggesting?
Well, that room's empty now. So like maybe that room.
But that's a wide open daycare space filled with
Not anymore.
toys.
It's empty.
It's filled with toys.
Full of dust.
Have you been in there?
No.
I've been in there.
I've glanced.
Yeah.
The door is often ajar. The door is ajar.
A jar. Wow, how poetic.
I took a look and I'm like, well, maybe something's happening in there. Or the staff room.
That's what you looked at a daycare space and thought.
It's not a daycare space.
It is
a former daycare space. Do not make this weird.
It's filled with decals. With
and
ABC.
You should be filled with me. If you know of a gym where we can have intercourse, please hit us up.
Good Life. Here is your sponsorship opportunity. Lifetime Fitness.
Life could be even gooder. How about that?
How are you sick man?
It could be. That should be the new tagline. Good life. Your life could be even gooder. And I'm trying to think of like some other gyms in the United States. Let's make it cross-border.
Okay. Well, didn't I say Lifetime Fitness? Isn't that?
Dude, Planet Fitness that's like that's like North American, right?
Okay.
Planet.
Okay.
How about Planet Fitness in your mouth? I self-censored there, but I think it's pretty clear what we would like to fit into.
Who's we? The royal we?
Mouth. The royal we, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Surely.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't be speaking for me.
You don't want that? News to me, fam. So glad you're doing well. Also, shout out 10,000 on Instagram. Massive.
Thank you.
Massive.
Thank you. Kyle's clapping behind the curtain. I appreciate it, Kyle. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I feel really overshadowed by your 600K on TikTok.
Good.
So congratulations on that.
Kyle, could you actually unfollow Dom really quickly? Humble her a little bit. He's doing it right now.
He's doing it right now.
Love
Thank
that.
you. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
A big milestone for both of us.
Yeah, I mean,
and the same weight, right?
Absolutely.
So, well, they say Instagram followers are worth a little bit more than TikTok
harder
followers.
to gain. But honestly, you put in work. I'm not gonna undermine anything that you've achieved here.
Try to put in some more work over here.
Kolter.
Yeah.
Kolter, can I say one sentence? Try it.
Is the sentence let's Is the sentence let's hook up?
No.
Oh. Well, then I'm uninterested in your sentence.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great.
What?
What is this, a heat map? What's the pattern on the dress?
Wow, I thought it looked cute until you said that.
No, it is. I like it, but like, what's the pattern?
I don't know. It's giving aura. It's giving good vibes. It's giving summertime. It's giving
color.
lava lamp.
That's for all the camera nerds out there, including that joke's for me. Essentially,
I think so.
It's for me.
I think so.
And like Chris Howe, who we went to school with. Shout out to Chris Howe. He'd get it. Alex Tomaszewski, who did our graphics,
shout
would
out to
also
Alex.
get it.
Any other school people you want to shout out really quickly? Because we just have nothing but time.
I taught Kyle
shout
false
out
color.
To Kyle.
So yeah. So 10K, 600K, and shout out to Kyle for learning false color.
That's the only time I bring back the air horn. We will not be bringing back said air horn. I see the air horn army is upset in the comments.
The air horn army is despondent and disbanding. The air horn army are technically veterans now.
Okay.
Right? So they've been honorably discharged. And
thank you for y'all service.
That's it. Yeah. We do need to take better care of our veterans, though.
This got really dark really quickly.
Why does it need to get dark?
It's
incumbent upon us.
The treatment of vets, that's very dark.
It's dark in that the government's not doing a good job.
Absolutely.
Government needs to do a way better job treating vets like human beings.
Okay, I agree.
Mental health support. Oh. Dude, if you're a veteran, why are you paying rent? Ever? Do you know why are you ever paying for food? You risk your life, man.
Yeah. No, listen, I agree with you. I just think your segue was crazy.
Why do you hate vets?
Oh my God.
Kyle, if you could clip this. This just in, Dominique Bouchard hates veterans. You're like, no. Veterinarians.
Oh, yeah.
Different vet.
Puppies, so I keep them alive. Yeah.
Speaking of which, have you heard that story? There's a woman, and she was in the running to be like a vice presidential nomination, or nominee rather.
In the States.
In the States, yeah. Okay. And she's the governor of like one of the Dakotas.
Okay.
I'm gonna guess South. And she released this book where she like brags about killing her dog.
Whoa. Was it sick?
It attacked some livestock or something. And so, could an argument be made? Sure. But is really doubling down on this.
Well,
and
she made the decision because it was a dangerous dog, it seems.
Apparently and allegedly.
Okay.
But will not, unlike the dog, will not let this die. And is just getting skewered. And also in the book, claimed that she meant North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, which is demonstrably false.
That she met him?
Yeah. And then they had to take it out of the book. And she's like, I don't know how that got in there.
What?
And then they were like, hey, but you read the audiobooks.
Oh my goodness.
Because a lot of the time, celebrities will have ghostwriters and stuff.
Sure,
and it's
but they don't like proof.
Bro, you left.
Before publishing.
You have, what?
And she read the book and then questioned it.
And then, I think this was on CNN. And then the anchor or the reporter was like, why did you lie about that? And then this governor, Kristi Noem's her name. And then Kristi Noem goes, oh, well, I don't want to get into particulars about world leaders that I've met. And I'm thinking
so you just lied?
But you did because you wrote it in a book. What?
Who is this? What's this lady's name?
Kristi Noem.
Okay. Right. Yeah, you did say that.
Oh, and there was another thing.
Oh, Lord.
There was some drama. She had veneers put in and then did an endorsement video for them. Dude, you're the governor.
Oh, so you're a politician. You can't do.
You shouldn't be.
Yeah.
What? You're a private citizen.
Sure.
You and I do it, right?
Do all the
shout out to Alaska Rhodiola. Yeah. That's coming up.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Alaska Rhodiola.
But I take it that means you're doing well.
That who's doing well?
That you, because you read this book or found the fallacies.
I didn't. I just listen. I'm mostly a headline guy.
Okay, right.
Headlines, just skimming and that's the thing. People are like, oh, people who just read headlines. Some people criticizing other people, but much like the cream rising to the top, the headline, that's the cream.
Something tells me you don't even read the headline. You see what has been said on Reddit. And they reference the headline.
It's a combination of both.
Right.
I will look at the Reddit altered headline about an article.
Right.
And then I'll read the comments.
Okay.
And that's where I form my opinions from.
Right.
So
that's, yeah.
Nah, I have a lot of books.
Journalism, baby.
I got a lot of books. We don't have the bookshelf in this set anymore because we have this non-bookshelf set. You've seen the books in the past, though. Kyle, there's books back there, right? Like serious political books. Can you confirm that, please?
Oh, yeah. He said no. Oh, yeah. He said no.
He said, oh, yeah. We're getting a Kyle. A Kyle? We already have a Kyle.
We're getting a Kyle.
We have a Kyle. We're getting Kyle a microphone for the next episode.
But for now, I'll speak for him, and he said no.
He definitely said, yeah. Why are you lying?
Okay. calling a black
Why
woman
are you
a liar.
lying?
That's pretty messed up.
No, but you're also like misrepresenting the words of a member of the queer community. So interesting.
I also do not want, as a black woman, to not be believed. Do we not believe women first?
Do we believe all women? Do we believe all men? I don't believe any men.
I do not believe all men.
Record.
Absolutely not. No.
Don't believe all men. Don't believe any men. I'd say believe some women. Believe no men and believe some women. Yeah.
I mean, when a woman comes forward and claims that she's been fallen victim to something, I believe we should believe them, or at least be open to. Listen, the way that things work right now is a matter of, it's not even guilty until proven. It's just you're telling a lie until proven that you're not telling a lie, and often not proven because enough time hasn't been put into
Too many
this.
double negatives.
Yeah, I'm realizing that. If I come forward and say someone robbed from me,
somebody
let's
did.
keep it.
Remember at the mall, someone stole your phone?
Right off the stroller. That was
kept
messed
a bunch
up.
of prop $100 bills in it.
So I keep manifestation money, right?
Yeah.
So I have a lot of fake dollar bills that like I'll count and I'll sort to like, it's manifestation. So I'm getting used to handling lots of money and counting my money and sorting my money because I'm getting ready to handle a lot of money. That's how I treat that. And I learned that
buy
from
a
my
new
sister.
phone after you got one stolen from you.
So I keep one in the car because I believe in keeping it with me. I kept one in my phone case. So like I had a clear phone case and I kept it in the back. And so I kept it on the stroller and someone saw that fake $100 US bill on my phone and stole the whole phone off the stroller.
Well, they didn't have time to like go in and take it out, and
I hope they got home and realized what.
Well, they got a phone out of it, so. But it was an Android, to be fair. So.
I like Androids. I have an iPhone, but I like Androids.
Clearly, you don't like Androids enough to get another Android.
I was bullied into the iPhone life,
right?
Because everyone's like, "Oh my God, Android! Oh, blue text." Like, get over it. Get over it. It did not change my life.
Okay.
So when we talk about embracing sexuality,
we're
first going to talk on the subject of fetishization versus preference.
I have a hard time with that word too.
Yeah.
Fetishization.
I said it, didn't I?
Let's each say it 3 times. Fetishization. Okay, one at a time. You go first.
Fetishization. Is it fetitize or fetish?
Fetish.
Fetishize.
Fetishization.
No, they need to change this word.
Fetishization.
Fetishizing.
But slow it down. Fetishization.
Fetishization.
Nailed it.
Fetishization.
Yo, give me props, bro.
I'm not doing it.
Yo, dap it up, fam.
While we're here, I'm just putting out a call for a new co-host. The standard isn't very high. Just don't ask me to daps you. Kyle is waving off camera. He's coming for your seat, bro.
Interesting.
Okay.
That it's just like okay to what? Make fun of white men now? It's just interesting that we're making fun of cis white men all of a sudden. Like that's what, okay? I don't think it is.
I'm gonna let you get into the theme whenever you're ready. You go ahead. Go on your tangent. Get out what you need to get out. Please. I'm gonna sit back.
And let me get out what I need to get out.
Oh my God.
The difference between fetishization and preference is you're hardwired to like, you like certain things, right? And maybe you discover some of those things a little bit older and you're like, I'm into like pee or armpits all of a sudden. And not personally, and we're not going to kink shame those things. I'm going to kink shame pee. That's a little weird.
I'm going to hop in here because I also don't believe that you're hardwired to like certain things. Okay, I do believe that, yes, you are born with sexuality, but I also believe that through time and discovery, and through like
cruising the hub a little bit,
sure, and through like liberties available in society, hopefully that's available to you, that you learn more about yourself and learn more about things that you may or may not be into. So like, though you may identify as gay at one age, and a few years later you may identify as pan or bisexual. In a few years you may identify as gay. Right? So I don't think that like anyone's like hardwired. I think that sexuality is pretty fluid.
Okay, well, let's say this. You're born with a certain predisposition to things.
Okay.
Right? And like you don't necessarily know everything that's available out there, right?
Sure.
Like armpits and pee. And maybe we've all been here before, not specifically with those things, where you see something on the hub or whatever other website of your choice, and you're like, oh man, I think like I'm into this too.
Okay.
That's
all
fun.
right.
It's kind of a fun, it's like going to a restaurant and you try a new meal and you're like, where has this been all my life? Where have these armpits been?
When
My
are we
whole
getting
life.
a Pornhub sponsorship? Can I just ask that? Like, it's time.
I think that will nuke any other endorsement deal we could possibly ever get,
Fine.
unfortunately. So
Fine.
yeah. You got if you want like a sex endorsement, it has to be thinly veiled.
Just send me a shirt
It has to be like wellness, like
or a hat.
whatever. Okay. So when it comes to preference, like I'll bring this to like, the thing you and I got going on over here.
Okay.
So
I prefer not to be referenced, but
there are people out there who fetishize black people, for instance, right? And that's the only thing about a black person that they are attracted to is like the color of their skin and certain other attributes, right?
Okay.
They're not really seeing a human being.
Okay.
They're just seeing, I'm seeing a set of attributes, as opposed to having a preference, for instance, like people have preferences for big cans, for instance, or like, culturally, people have cultural preferences. I get that. And you can also you can have certain preferences for like, maybe you are more attracted to black women than you are to white women, for instance.
Sure.
And that's okay. But like, if the only reason I was attracted to you was because you were black, that would be me fetishizing you.
Right. I think you hit on a good point when you mentioned cultural preference, because listen, a lot of people prefer to date either within their race or within their culture.
Not me.
Evidently.
I think that's pretty clear.
Well, I guess you dated within your culture in terms of like, we're both Canadian.
We both have
grew up
IBS.
20 minutes.
So.
We both grew up 20 minutes from each other. So like culturally, yeah, there were differences, but yeah, we raised pretty similarly. But a lot of people prefer to date within their culture or race just because of ease, or hopefully ease. It might be because, your parents, you don't want to disappoint them, or
don't live your life for your parents. For the record, respect your parents, if that in your particular case is warranted. Treat human beings with respect, like in general. But
don't put too much respect on your parents' name.
No, don't. If you're like, we know a guy. We worked with him in Dubai.
Yeah.
You worked with him in Dubai. Really liked this guy and was in love with this woman. Like,
he was in love with her. And
woman.
anytime he'd speak with her, like, honestly, I would get butterflies in my stomach.
Yeah.
Speak about her.
Beautiful.
Because he was taken by this woman, but he had a marriage arranged for him. And at the time, this was 7 years ago that this was happening, when he was still engaged. And I was really talking to him, like, I don't know why you're going through with this. You're clearly not excited about this.
You and I were talking about it too. I'm like, I'm not speaking directly to him, but I was frustrated too.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
So when speaking with him directly, I did not understand. And he really broke it down for me. And that was my ignorance for sure. But he broke it down for me, the fact that he's like, if I were to say no to this woman that I'm engaged to now, what would happen to her in society was she would be cast aside. She would not have an opportunity beyond me. My family knows that this is happening and has set this up for me. That would be incredibly disrespectful. And just considering all that would happen on a societal level, it wouldn't be worth him making the selfish decision to marry for love versus marry for, I don't even know how I would describe that, but marry in the way that it's been set up for him. So he did go ahead with the arranged marriage, and
they split up.
I think they did, actually.
After a couple of kids. That's rough. Didn't he get full cussed, by the way?
I really don't know his business on that level. We're not together every day anymore, so I can't speak to that level. But again, it's just learning about all that, and again, my own ignorances and not knowing on a cultural level why people make certain decisions. And growing up in North America, love marriage, that's the norm, at least in the people that I grew up with. And yeah, I'm gonna marry for selfish reasons because I'm in love with you, and I'm gonna go forward with it. The smile.
When I was in high school, I had zero confidence whatsoever. Yikes! Apparently didn't pay much attention in English class either. And I didn't tell anybody this, I really wanted an arranged marriage because I'm like, then someone's going to have to marry me.
It's really sad.
Someone's going to be stuck. It's so sad.
It's very sad.
Right?
I mean, those who seek arranged marriages is because
Is anyone seeking one?
Yeah. Don't you watch?
No.
There's shows on Netflix about, Americans with Indian heritage who go to I think it's called Indian matchmaker, and seek an arranged marriage because they're like, yeah, I think that this is easier, that I can tell you what I'm looking for.
Is that an arranged marriage if you're also like doing a little comparison shopping? Is an arranged marriage usually like, hey, like my folks got together with your folks and had a bunch of drinks and they were like, let's make it happen.
This is wild. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Couldn't be me.
In my culture, we don't arrange marriages, so I don't know. But what I know is from that coworker who was teaching me about his, and from Indian Matchmaker on Netflix.
Sure.
So very little information.
At the end of the day, do you. Like,
Truly.
do you. You're not hurting anybody. Sometimes perhaps your own mental health. You're just stuck with someone forever. Which, hey, a lot of people choose to be with someone and then are stuck with them forever because they're like, oh, we can't get a divorce.
Yeah.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
Sky Daddy will be mad at us.
So many reasons. Yeah.
Get a divorce.
For religious reasons, for the kids.
Leave each other. Take care of your kids and respect each other. If it's not working, why are you putting everybody
Honestly,
through that?
I'm always going to encourage you
Good
to leave him.
Lord.
Leave him.
Yeah.
Leave him.
And her.
Sure.
Believe some women. Believe no men.
Wow. Okay. When speaking of fetishization versus preference, I did not ever think I would end up marrying a white man. I'm gonna be completely honest.
You gave into the fetish. You went against the preference. You're like,
well, everyone in my family all the women are married to black men.
Yeah.
No one is openly gay in my family.
Is anyone who's married?
Oh.
None of your sisters are married. Your mom's married.
My mom is married.
Shout out to Denise and Ron.
Yes. They've been married for a little over a decade now.
They will never find this. Ever.
No.
I think your mama knows how to work hey Denise, you want to hop on an Apple podcast? She's like, I don't know what that is. I don't.
Yeah, my aunts has been married all my life, for example. Yeah. There are marriages in my family. Yeah, so just seeing that, or like even when they were dating, all my sisters, they dated black men. One sister once
had one of me.
Dated a white dude, and it was such a big deal.
Yeah.
Like even for me, I was like, what?
Shout out to I'm gonna make up a name here.
I don't remember his name.
Charles. Can I say his actual name?
I don't remember it.
Shout out to Sean.
Oh, yes.
For really paving the way for me. I came in pretty shortly after that. And you and your sister, same thing, little swirl action. Did she give you any tips? She's like, all right, everyone, his family might smell like wet dog.
Oh, my God.
Like, not mine in particular, just like white families. And also like hide the seasoning.
I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie. She did like ask me about the relationship with your parents and what that dynamic was like, because she struggled with like when she visited his parents, just felt like, I don't remember the exact situation, but I remember her feeling very out of place. And I think they lived in like rural Ontario, if I'm remembering correctly.
Miss me with rural, you know?
Don't your parents
even the word
live in rural Ontario? At one point, they lived in the woods at one point.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
Rural. That's pretty
Miss
rural.
me with rural.
Oh my goodness.
Ugh.
This word is so difficult. A rural juror.
Yeah, remember on 30 Rock? We're old. Rural. Miss me with that.
Old.
I wonder if more people in like rural parts of the world are having arranged marriages. Because you're in the city, you're just like, first off, people in the city are hotter in general. You're just like, eyes are straying a little away from the arranged sitch.
I mean, you have more options.
Yeah, a lot more options.
I mean, I imagine if you're living in a small ass town, you're marrying the person you went to sixth grade dance with.
Or, depending on the size of the town, someone you went to a family reunion with every year for the last 20 years. Right?
God. Yeah.
That's another thing. You're in the city, less chance you're related, right? So maybe that's like psychologically, like I'm so anti-incest, and I think for pretty obvious reasons. Just like generally speaking, I don't think that incest is like a good thing. I think that maybe that's part of it. I'm just like, there's no chance.
You just went for the opposite of your family with me.
I wouldn't say opposite of my family. My family, they're kind souls. You're a kind soul.
Okay, because I didn't know where that was going. Your family was a kind soul. Okay.
They are kind souls.
Souls, yes.
Made up of many people. You are made up of one person.
Absolutely, yeah.
Briefly, two people. Yeah. And
You're welcome for
sometimes
that.
when we hook up, also two people.
Okay.
Speaking of sex and intimacy and relationships, Alaska Rhodiola, sponsor of the show, and a way to get you a little more libido, a little more. What are you tickling? I know what you're tickling. I know what you're tickling, and they are that big.
But as someone who is married to you and has committed myself to a lifetime of this, sometimes I need to decrease the stress. And so this can actually help with that. And as someone who cannot drink coffee, this comes in handy. It gives you that little push in the morning.
Yeah, you put it in your tea, right?
I do. I put it in my tea, or sometimes I'll take a ginger shot in the morning and I'll add this.
I'll raw dog it
honey.
out, putting it in my soup, just like unscrew and a couple of drops, and it goes really good with New England clam chowder.
Ooh.
I feel it because this is like kind of herbal and it's a nice kick.
Okay. Yeah.
Little wonton soup
Wonton
with Alaska
soup.
rhodiola. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Little
the secret sauce.
Little French onion soup.
Yeah.
Just
Some boop, boop, boop tomatoes.
Yeah.
Italian wedding.
Yeah. All the
Alphabet?
soups. All the soups. And they have a list of soup recipes on their website. They don't, but they
do
should.
not.
They should. Use promo code PLAY15, PLAY15 at checkout to save 15% off. You are helping out the show. You're helping out a woman-owned business in Alaska. It's a mother-daughter team. And you're also helping out yourself. Play15 at checkout, akroseroot.com.
Moving on from that topic, we're talking about sexual shame. So we both went to Catholic school. I think we've touched on this a little bit, but tell me a little bit about the sexual shame you've experienced.
I'll be honest, hot take, not enough sexual shame in the world. I'll be honest. I think that there's people, I see the videos, okay? I
What
see what's
videos?
going on out there. We've seen the videos. You see some videos sometimes and you're like, I'm going to click it out of curiosity, but like hands are now on the desk, right? Pants are zipped up. Like, I'm not interested in this for like that. But then you watch it and you're like, oh no, this should not. Sometimes even you see the thumbnail because it'll autoplay a little bit. And you're like, no, this shouldn't be. Nobody should be doing this.
Oh dear.
Right?
No, I'm not on the same categories as you. I'm so sorry.
No. Just like the what's like the front page of the hub. Whatever
Yeah,
they call
ours
it.
is very different. It's based on algorithm. It sees like what you typically watch and refers more. So
Your X videos For You page.
Precisely. The algorithm is great. We always talk about TikTok, but
Yeah.
consider the hubs. Like, they know what they're doing.
The hub, it's like, hey, you might be interested in this. And it's like, no, I'm not.
You are correct. Oh, again, mine knows me.
Yeah?
You mine absolutely knows me.
No, I mean like, so you never get a random video where you're like, no, bad Pornhub.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like whacking it on the nose with a newspaper like a dog, which that's some of the videos there, right?
But no, I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah, people are dressing up like pets and stuff.
Okay.
Furries.
Very different algorithms. Completely.
Being a furry should be illegal.
Different.
That's the one group of people that we should be discriminating against and more. Furries.
Tell me about your Catholic schooling.
A lot of furries, I'll tell you that. That's where I first learned about it. Listen, we both went to Catholic school, weirdly publicly funded in the province of Ontario, and one other place in Canada, I believe Saskatchewan, which I called because of my friend.
Saskatchewan? Oh,
It's
because
Saskatchewan,
Sam lives
but
out there.
my friend Sam.
Right.
Little Sam lives in that. So I call it Sam Saskatchewan.
Let's move on
after
because
Sam.
our audience is mostly American and will not understand this.
There's lots of Catholic school in the United States. When we
but
were
it's
in
private.
It is. And just lots of like Christian school. And I don't think that should be publicly funded.
Okay.
You know, I don't think that any religion should have school that like you're learning about a religion and like tax dollars are funding it. That seems so weird to me. Anyway, it is what it is, I guess, for now at least. And there's a lot of shame. I'll tell you this. I'll tell you when Catholicism lost me, when a priest came in. That could have been a sentence right there. But also when the priest said, the son is responsible for the sins of the father. And I remember thinking, I was like maybe grade 7 or 8. That doesn't seem fair. And also, what do you know about my dad that I don't know?
Right.
What did he do?
Right.
And the answer is nothing. He's a very kind man, good guy, you know?
Sure.
But just like fathers and sons in generals. And that could apply to like mothers and daughters, just like your parents and you.
Yeah, the new generation
No.
inherits.
No.
It's karma. You do bad, your child will receive bad.
But also-
is the idea there.
The Catholic Church would say karma, that's a foreign religion. Can't have that. Can't
Well,
be
I'm
doing
just
that.
summarizing what's being
Yeah.
what the priest was trying to state.
Okay, so here's a question then. Here's a question for all the priests in the audience.
Right. They're watching Playing House.
Okay, so if if you're saying that the kid is responsible for the sin of the parent, what if the kid's adopted, doesn't know the biological parents? Is the kid responsible for the sins of bio parents or adoptive parents or both? Because that would suck. Double sin? Nah, man, miss me with that.
Am I meant to answer this?
Sure.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not Catholic.
Okay. You went to Catholic school.
Yeah, I didn't pay attention.
Okay.
You didn't really need to. We were forced to do religion class, and that was the easiest of all. This is the class you slept in, so.
Not me.
Oh, good. You were in the front row.
I was afraid of getting yelled at, so I didn't sleep in any class. Here's the thing. Catholic school, and I think you're seeing this a lot in public school as well, especially depending on which state you live in. Some of the yeehaw states, not fans of this. There's a lot of shame that comes with like...
Don't say gay.
Yeah, don't.
Menstruation.
Yeah, can't do that. Not happening in our school.
Madness.
Right? We're patriots. And I think that, especially in your formative years, right? Think about how many memories you have from that time of your life that are like core foundational memories. And how often those like shape your views as an adult.
Right.
Or were you like, you wanted to confide in a teacher? And I know this happens. This would be horrible. Imagine confiding in a teacher that you're like, I'm having like some
thoughts.
dirty thoughts about your boy, some other boys, right? And the teacher's like, that's shameful and sinful.
That's
and what
sin.
I'm going to tell your parents. Oh my God.
Yeah, kids need trusted adults outside of their parents. Yeah. They really do. At least trusted, educated, mature figures in their life outside of their parents.
Or what if you're trying to soft launch some new pronouns, right? Want to give that a shot. And they're like, got to tell your parents.
And
you're
use
like,
your school,
no.
like your friends at school as like your safe space because they're close enough to you and you feel like you'll be safe telling them that and they'll respect it. And then it gets back to your parents before you're right. Like no one should be outed.
No, my God,
no one should be outed.
And you should also have the freedom to like, just like live your life. Good Lord. And to your point earlier, Dominique, maybe you're like, I'm feeling like this one day. And then a couple of months later, because you're, I don't know, like a teenager, right?
You're a human who's evolving and
100%.
Discovering yourself. Absolutely.
How many people discover in their like 40s that they're
Absolutely.
like, like we did that Mom Talk creator workshop in Atlanta. And at least one of the women realized in her late 30s.
Realized or just came out?
Came out.
Because there is a difference. There's, not feeling safe and finally finding...
Hard launching.
Sure. Right? Finally launching the sexuality later on. Yeah. Yeah, that's
get the little rainbow emoticon. Jesus Christ.
Sure.
What am I, 1,000? Emoji in the bio. Gotta do that.
When we talk about religious sexual shame, I've spoken about church many times on this podcast.
Big fan of church. No notes.
The thing is, listen, I'm a huge fan of God. I'm a huge fan of Jesus. I'm a huge fan of like all religions having their own take on something beautiful and like a higher meaning and a higher power. I think that most religions, if not all religions, also take advantage of the power that they have by exploiting people and forcing people through shame and unnecessary rules that don't achieve anything higher than allowing the church or whatever power to have power over that person.
How are you going to get the power though? Unless you're like weaponizing everything about the people that go to that your flock, right?
But is it about having power or is it about...
It's also money.
Well, that's it, right? At the end of the day, it's a business.
Yeah.
Especially with Christian churches, it's a business. It's about getting tithes and offering and building funds. And it's about making that money. And so I was raised in the church, many different churches. And obviously that brought along a lot of sexual shame. And I've spoken about this before when I lost my virginity and and the pastor, it just so happened that at the same time I decided to leave that church because I was being disrespected by those I'd grown up with and decided this is not the place for me anymore. I don't feel comfortable. I'm gonna find a new church for myself. And I was of age where I felt like I could make that decision. And
also the pastor looked like Dr. Phil and sounded like Dr. Phil. What is going on?
Man sets an alarm in the middle of the podcast.
I was for something else.
Okay.
And my ringer was super loud too. Anyway, the guy looked like Dr. Phil.
And And so I told my minister, who I was closest. I was serving in the sound and music department.
Nerd alert.
Okay, says the man who sets up the microphones and the lights and does all the techie stuff. Absolutely.
Kyle helped.
And made a false color reference to my dress. Cool. So yeah, I was serving in that department, and the minister who was in charge of that department, I told him, because I was like, I'm not going to be here next week because I've decided I'm not going to be coming back to this church.
So how much notice? You gave 1 week notice?
Yeah.
Damn.
They weren't paying me. I was volunteering. What?
How much like when you're going to leave? I guess you don't have to give like 2 weeks with a job, right? When you're leaving church, you're like, all right, you're going to get like 4 more rounds of donations out of me.
That's fair, actually.
I'll be here for like, I'll speak in tongues 1 more time. I want to make sure that like I'm transitioning, to the next person.
Absolutely.
And they're like, transitioning?
Yeah.
You get out of here today.
And so I told, so he went and told the pastor, because I guess like that's protocol.
Rat.
That's what you're supposed to do.
What a narc.
So the tutus, they're calling me up to the pastor's office, and he's asking me like, what's going on? And I'm explaining the situation to him, and like side conversations that had happened that had led to my ultimate decision. And despite everything that I had told him, he said, have you lost your virginity? Have you had sex? And I said, yeah. Don't really know what that has to do with anything, but yes. And he's like, it's that
tall guy. I've seen him here a couple of times.
Tall guy. And so he's like, that's it. It's your conviction.
Ugh.
Is any of this really happening, or is it the Lord?
Just gaslighting you.
Just gaslighting me.
What a tool.
And so for a very long time, like even through marriage, like the first few years we were married, you remember, like there was still so much guilt.
There's still guilt. I'd say like there's still a little bit of guilt today.
Sure, but it's not like I'm finally at a place, and it's taken almost 10 years of marriage for me to feel like it's not wrong to have sex. Like it's this weird transition of being brought up in the church, being told how bad sex is, stay away from it, dress modestly, don't tempt with your words or with your body or with your hair even. Don't wear anklets because that's what Jezebels do. They make too much noise. Don't speak too much. Don't be seen. Just be as tiny and take up as little space as possible.
Don't buy a dress from the Canon eShop.
That was such an insider joke, sir. That was such an insider joke.
Canon cameras, you can buy stuff on their website.
Anyway, so don't do all these things. And then suddenly you're married. When are you going to have kids? There is no transition. There's no in between of you're, a teenager, you're a young adult, you're starting to transition into an older age. Like you're starting to have more relationships. Here's what to expect. There's none of that in the middle.
Do you want to relive? We could do this right now. Because I think it's important, like when you have like traumatic experiences, to try and relive them, and then you can like, do you know what neuroplasticity is? It's like when you retrain the grooves in your brain.
Okay.
So like we could do this interaction again. I could be the priest or the pastor.
Okay.
And you could be you.
Yeah.
And do you want to do this again?
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, you got to knock on the door. I'm in my office. Come on in.
Yes, he was from Texas.
Yeah, he sounded like Dr. Phil. All right.
Oh,
and then he probably got your
Lord.
name wrong, like confused you with another black woman. He's like, all right,
Don't do it.
Tashana Neek.
Okay, he did it anyways.
What can I do for you today?
Pastor, I've decided to leave the church. I'm going to find a new one.
What?
Okay. Thank you for this. My child trauma is gone. Thank you so much.
Done.
I think we are.
I think you're a dirty whore.
Oh my God.
What are you going to say to him?
Well, that is your opinion. That is not mine.
And it's Jesus' opinion too.
Okay. Well, maybe you're Jesus, but Black Jesus doesn't believe so.
I sell propane and propane accessories. You know what they say? In like Dr. Phil, out like Hank Hill. Hank Hill's surprisingly progressive. The episode of King of the Hill.
I don't that show too much.
No?
No, not too much.
It would start with like Bobby would do something like Hank would be like, oh, he'd like be really freaked out about it. And then by the end, he's just like, I love my son. And then he'd just like come around to it.
All right.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, we're going to move into communication. So when speaking about embracing sexuality, one thing that I've really learned from you has been learning to communicate what I want. And that has been, yeah. Well, like, I think like communicating what I want during sex is one example of that, but just like.
That's the only communication I want, by the way.
Okay. Okay.
No, how's your day going? No, like, I want to talk about my feelings.
Right.
I said, I want to talk about these feelings, boy.
Okay. So for women, I think for a lot of women, sex is psychological. It's like we need to be turned on mentally first, and then the rest of the body can follow. What?
No, I just think it's funny because like I'm wearing Crocs and like going
Yeah,
like,
I know.
I need to be like psychologically, attracted. I should take these off, I guess, if I want to. Okay. Anyway, I think it gets into the last segment of the episode today about like embracing it and being proud of like who you are and being proud of like what you like, right? Especially if you have a receptive partner. It's a lot easier to do that, obviously. We were like, hey, I want to try something. I saw a video on the hub. Maybe we'll give it a shot.
Absolutely. When we talk about embracing, and despite all the sexual shame that I received from church or through church, I've been working with therapists, surprise,
Multiple
therapists to unlearn a lot of that. So some of the resources that I was able to get through that included, so there was a podcast called Going Not Too Deep. I don't know if they still make it. I believe.
I remember when you were listening to this.
Yes. Yeah. And so funny enough, it's their, the co-hosts are two girls that went to one of the satellite churches. So the church that I went to in Toronto was a smaller offsite church from the larger one in Michigan, and they both went there. So it's just about, as two church girls who grew up and got married and learned to embrace their sexuality, they talk about that. And they talk about very similar things about like feeling that sexual shame, not knowing, like not being able to get over that guilt because they were told all their lives how bad sex was. So I'd highly recommend that podcast. There's also a website called The Good Trade Blog, and it's feminist, womanist resources on like sexual health and mental health and just a holistic view of different resources on how people who identify as women can like take care of themselves. And I've found a lot of great resources from them. So stuff like sexual toys for people who have, anxiety around that sort of stuff. So like finding toys that are
look a little less threatening.
You know what I mean? Like I grew up on Sex and the City, for example. Yeah. So like my first The rabbit. My first introduction to sex toys was when Samantha had the rabbit. And it was like, first of all, incredibly, like, what's the word? Phallic?
Yeah. Also, wasn't it Charlotte who got addicted to it?
I think it was, okay, I don't remember.
But like really, like you said, phallic, whereas there are other ones that are like, they kind of look like art, right?
Yeah, sure. Sure. If that's what you're into.
They look fancy.
And like, they don't always need to be like penetrative. Is that how you say that word? Penetrating? You don't always got to penetrate. Like there are different ways to feel pleasure and working with toys.
Yeah.
And they have some great resources for that. Also, what my therapist recently introduced me to is called OMG Yes. And so it's a resource specifically for people who identify as women to learn about like self-pleasure and learn about like the things that you can do for yourself so that you can learn to communicate with your partner.
Would this be good for like if you're in a relationship with a woman? Like maybe you look at it and you're like, this is how the computer works, so to speak. This is how you boot it up.
Your body being the computer?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, like it could be in a same-sex marriage.
Yeah.
You can be in a hetero marriage. You can be solo. Just learning the things that you like first so that you can learn these are the things that turn me on. These are the things that get me off. And like being able to communicate that or achieve that if you choose to be with someone else as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's good to have these conversations.
You've logged in before as well. No?
Oh my God, yes?
Oh, yeah.
I think so.
Or like, at least like, so there are resources for, you have not.
Do I need to? Are you telling me? Kolter, maybe you log on, you do a few chapters each night this week.
Yeah, so there are like partner resources. And so learning to approach that together as well.
Why didn't they call it Rosetta Bone? Should we get into our the more intimate portion of the show? I'd like to read it this week.
Sure.
You always get to read it. It's my turn. All right, you ready for this? This is Pillow Talk. This is the part of the show. It gets a little more intimate, which maybe not in this episode. I feel like it's been pretty, pillow talky. How do you feel our sexual connection has evolved since we first got together?
Ooh. I wrote the question, but I'm still impressed.
You're like, wow, so
good.
nuanced. That hot tub in July of last year.
Yeah, which
good.
we still haven't touched on.
No. I think it maybe deserves its own episode, right? We're wrapping up,
sure.
you know.
How has our sexual relationship evolved? I mean, I said it earlier that like I've learned to get over the guilt.
Good.
Which was very difficult.
Are you all the way there, would you say? Or do you have still some remnants?
There's of course, right? Like there's one thing that just like accepting that like having sex with my husband is not sinful.
That's
and I'm
awesome.
not going to be damned to hell. Enjoying sex and enjoying sex for just pleasure, not to procreate is okay.
We're done with that part.
Like,
it is straight fornication from now, fam.
And just liking certain things, watching porn is not going to damn my soul to hell.
And doing it together.
That's like
fun.
Certain things that I guess I was programmed to believe was like freaky in a way that like, no, that's not good. That's
Bad
not
freaky.
That doesn't right? Like that doesn't belong in a holy marriage or
You're gonna say it doesn't belong in a hole. Maybe.
maybe. At least for my hole, but okay. Just learning to embrace those things that like there's nothing wrong with what I like, and I think it's really empowering.
There's a lot right with what you like.
It's freeing. That. Yeah, there's a lot right with what I like, and that's a really freeing. It's a really liberating belief.
Good.
How about you?
You're down for some more stuff. That's great, and it's also been great to see. You talked about that evolution and this reduction in shame. Like, that's been really cool. And I think being closer emotionally, and again, I'll touch upon the fact that you said, like, for women, sex is largely psychological. The closer we are emotionally, I feel like the better the sex is physically, because you're able to surrender. You're able to, just like abandon your inhibitions a lot more, because you trust this other person, not just physically, but also like emotionally, that if we try something and I want to tap out at some point, you're like, the other, of course.
Yeah.
And like, that's literally the bare minimum. If someone's like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah. Even
stop.
if you're in the middle of it, like once you lose consent, you lose consent. Yeah.
But like lose control, not consent, right?
Ooh. Oh.
Whoa. Is that a word?
Okay. Until you said it.
Dap it, fam.
This is a part where we play your questions on air. We actually have on air, like I'm on the radio again.
I mean, we've got microphones and cameras. It's kind of like we're on the air.
We actually have a written question this week, but if you would like to either write us a question or submit via audio, you can go to playinghousepod.com and submit your question there. This week, we have a question from our girl, Cookie Von C.
Yeah, Cookie Von C, welcome back.
How do you two balance chores? Who does the cooking, cleaning, etc.?
Okay, so neither one of us cook. I get my meals from a service that you just like poke a couple holes in the. They're like fancy TV dinners. They're fresh, they're not frozen. You toss it in the microwave for 2.5 minutes, and some takeout a little bit. Cleaning, I'm slaving away. Toilets and all that stuff.
Yeah. What do you use?
The brush.
Which brush?
The toilet brush.
What do you put on the brush?
The thing. It's,
what thing?
It's toilet bowl cleaner.
What color is it?
Some are blue, some are white.
What color is ours?
Blue. When's the last time you cleaned a toilet, bro? How about that?
We balance our chores pretty well now, I will say.
Also, full disclosure, we have a cleaner come once a week, which has been marriage saving. In fact, she's here today, right now.
I mean, that I'll be honest, that sounds very out of touch.
Yeah.
And it potentially is. And you know what? 2 years ago, I put on my vision board that I wanted to finally...
Don't be embarrassed. Own it.
No, I'm trying to tell a story. That I wanted to finally delegate some things in my life. And as a Black woman, it is so important to have a team around you. I say that as a Black woman because I think that Black women in particular, we like to take on a lot, and we find a lot of merit in running everything and not finding softness in our life. And a part of, for me, in my journey in finding softness has been learning how to delegate. So having Kyle behind that curtain helping us out, shout out to Kyle.
Shout out to Kyle.
Yeah, having support in I can focus on my full-time job and in my part-time creation and in raising my daughter because someone comes once a week to help me help us in keeping our home clean. Like, I don't feel shame in it, but I do understand that, like, if this was a year ago and I heard that somebody had a cleaner come once a week, I'd be like, what the hell's wrong with y'all? But I think there is a level of guilt because when my mom came to this country, one of her first jobs was in cleaning houses. And so it feels like, who am I to get to that level where I am now paying someone to do the same thing? Does that make sense? Like the guilt that I feel?
I mean, like, I can understand that, sure.
Yeah. So I'll be honest, there is a level of guilt. But it's freeing. And I'm super, super, super thankful for the support that we have.
Feel guilty if you want, or continue working hard and just like enjoy something that you've worked for, and you're employing somebody and you're a kind person, and it even feels weird me having to like justify these things to you.
Again, like, I'm not looking for anyone to like hold my hand or coddle me because I feel guilty that we have a team around us. I'm just saying, like, that is something that I am learning to unlearn, I guess.
It's your conviction. Stop having sex with that white boy. Is it really happening? Don't. Continue. More sex with that white boy. This has been great. You can follow me across your socials at Kolter Talks, Kolter with a K. I'm going to nail it this week. On Instagram at dom.creates. On TikTok at domcreates, no dot. It's not like at domcreates, no dot. Just there's no dot in there. And the P.O. Box is, as usual, up here somewhere. Go to our website, playinghousepod.com, and also send us cash.
Please.
Yeah, that's it. You're great. I love you, and we'll talk to you next week.